those of you who've been watching the Houston Oilers go at it with the San Francisco 49ers in a scoreless affair, I'm Brian Gumbel. I'd like to welcome you back to our NFL 81 studios in New York. Sunday number 15 has told us an awful lot about the playoff picture in the AFC. It is becoming a little more clear. Let's start from the top, where the Bengals won the AFC Central today at Three Rivers Stadium, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are completely out of the playoff picture. The final at Three Rivers was 17-10. Things have come up wonderful for Forrest Gregg and company. Just 2 years ago, the Bengals had their second straight 4-12 season, but boy, have they come around. A Frank Pollard run of 20 yards set up the first score of the ball game. Dave Trout kicked a 48-yard field goal to make it 3-0. After the Bengals evened it at 3, Anderson to Curtis made it 10-3 ball game. That's how they went to the locker room at the half. Mark Malone got the start playing in place of the injured Terry Bradshaw. He was intercepted by Reggie Williams, and that set up the Bengal offense in business. Anderson didn't waste it. He hit Steve Kreider to make it a 17-3 ball game. It was left only to the Steeler defense to try to get them back into the ball game. The head of that defense, number 58, Jack Lambert. He intercepted Anderson right here, and Malone was able to march the troops down the field. The march culminating with this 2-yard strike from Malone to Franco Harris. It closed the gap to 17-10, but it was the last gasp for the Steelers, and the Bengals turned the Steelers back. Final score 17-10. The Green Bay Packers continue to entertain their playoff hopes. They went down to the Superdome today and took an aerial display in by Lynn Dickey and turned back the Saints. Final score 35-7. It looked like Dickey's own personal highlight reel. He had a 9-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Ellis to make it 7-0, and then a 24-yard strike to J.J. John Jefferson. Good day for Jefferson. 2 touchdowns. He caught 4 balls for 91 yards. Again, Dickey, 25 yards to James Lofton. Ever since Jefferson and Lofton have gotten together, the Packers have become a force offensively. George Rogers, pretty well contained today. He had only 70 yards on the ground because clearly this day belonged to Lynn Dickey. He threw it 21 times. He completed 19 of them, total 218 yards and 5 touchdowns. The Packers today truly look like the Packers of old. Buffalo against New England. The Bills have a date for week number 17. They'll go into the playoffs as at least a wild card club. They got there by turning back the Patriots 19-10. The fans' woes in Foxborough as deep as the snows. Joe Cribb, second-year man out of Auburn, set up the first score of the ball game, taking it inside, bouncing it outside, down to the 5-yard line. From there, Roosevelt Leaks got the job done. Out of Texas, enough speed to get to the outside. That made it 7-0. And then Ferguson marching the Bills upfield, 87-yard drive done in 8 plays. The final 39 yards coming Ferguson to Cribbs. He gives Tim Fox the okie doke, goes in 14-0. Not much to cheer about from the Patriot point of view. Vegas Ferguson going in from 19 yards out, big hole off the left side, but a Mickemeyer field goal made it a 17-7 game at the half. It was left only to the defense to put the finishing touches on it. A safety securing the ball game. The final again, 19-10. The Giants in St. Louis were a pair of 7-7 ball clubs as they marched into St. Louis today. But today it is the Giants who continue to entertain their playoff hopes. The Cardinals have gone by the boards. Today the Giants were twice as good. Final was 20-10. San Diego against Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers were a team that all they had to do was beat the Chargers today, and they won the NFC Central. They came within 49 seconds of getting the job done. As John McKay looked on, the Chargers and the Buccaneers were deadlocked at 7 when John Cappelletti went in from 7 yards out. They went to the locker room at 14-7. Tampa Bay Buccaneers fell behind the Chargers before Doug Williams and James Wilder managed to rally the troops. They were down 21-10, but then Wilder went in for a score. They missed the point after. Fouts here being intercepted. Tampa Bay's defense playing brilliantly all year long. Picked off here by David Lewis. And remember that play you saw Wilder take it in from 7 yards out? Well, watch this one. Wilder once again, this time from 25 yards out. And this put Tampa Bay in a position to win the ball game. They were up 23-21. But then watch. Williams over the middle. Jimmy Giles gets stuck by Glenn Edwards, and it is Woodrow Lowe who comes up with the ball. Dan Fouts marches the Chargers into field goal position, and Rolf Berners gets the call and makes good from 29 yards out with just 48 seconds to play, and the Chargers turn back the Tampa Bay Buccaneers final 24-23. The Chargers can still win the AFC West title outright. The Baltimore Colts lost their 14th straight ball game today. They did it with ease. The Redskins beat them final 38-14. Joe Theismann had 339 yards through the air. Miami against Kansas City. The Miami Dolphins are a playoff team. They'll meet the Bills for the AFC East title next week here on NBC next Saturday. But the Dolphins today, a winner over the Chiefs. Final 17-7. They moved out in front when Tony Nathan went in from 5 yards out, made it 7-0. Steve Fuller got that back, throwing a 3-yarder to Al Dixon, 7-7. Joe Delaney made an 8-yard run right here, but he got hurt on the play. The Chiefs' all-time leading rusher for a single season got hurt, and it looks like he will not see any action in Week 16. This is the final clinching touchdown for Miami. Andre Franklin, rookie from Nebraska, taking it in. The Dolphins advance their record to 10-4-1. The Chiefs fall out of the playoff picture. Final again, 17-7. Philadelphia going against Dallas. This ball game has now reached the half, and the Eagles are out in front by a score of 10-7. If the Cowboys win, they win the NFC East outright. Should the Eagles win, both teams are in the playoffs, both at least a wild card. Houston against San Francisco. It's the ball game you've been watching all afternoon, and at the half, it's deadlock. No score in that ball game. The Oilers aren't playing for much. They're going home after next week. As for the 49ers, you already know that they are titleists in the NFC West. Chicago against Oakland. The Bears are having a tough time this year. They're a 4-10 ball club, but they are 2-0 against clubs in the AFC West. They are leading another AFC West club right now. At the half, the Bears out in front of the Raiders 7-6. Evans to Ricky Watts, 42 yards. It's been matched by an Oakland touchdown of Mark Wilson to Bob Chandler of 33. But Chris Barr, as he has been apt to do this year, missed the point after, and so far that's the difference in the ball game. Out at Mile High Stadium, the Denver Broncos continue to try to keep pace with the San Diego Chargers. They lead in that AFC West, but their lead is just a half game right now. You're taking a look at Craig Morton. Denver's out in front 7-3. They got the lone touchdown when Craig Morton threw 22 yards to Riley Odoms, his fine tight end out of Houston. That made it 7-0. Dan Dornick lost the ball right here just when it appeared Seattle might get back into the ball game. It was recovered by Denver. They thwarted that drive. All Seattle's been able to put on the board is a Wilson Alvarez field goal of 28 yards. It stands now at 7-3. We've got a second half to come from Candlestick Park. It's 0-0. The Oilers and the 49ers. Let's go back to the Bay Area.